This is Jeff Blauett, technical agronomist for Co-op Farmers Elevator. On this week's Field Friday segment, I wanted to talk about probably our main nemesis that we're fighting when it comes to corn and soybean spraying, but since we were towards the end of June and we're getting into heavy-duty bean spraying, I thought we'd talk about it in a bean system. Here we've got a pretty healthy specimen, probably 16, 18 inches tall. Lots of growing points. This is kind of what we don't want to have happen. An example of why we spend the money we do trying to get residual herbicides, pre-plants to get out in the fields to keep the seed from even coming out of the ground. Waterhemp's, one of its strengths is it grows so fast. That stuff can double in size in a couple of warm days pretty easily, so you can get a 4 to 8 inch waterhemp where 4 inch we can probably control rather easily. 8 inch becomes difficult, and then these guys are really tough. A couple of the things that really make it a difficult deal is with all of these growing points. I mean, there's probably upwards of 30, 40 growing points on this plant with all its branches and everything. Trying to get coverage of a contact type herbicide, Liberty, the Flexstar, Warren Ultra, those types of products, Cobras, any of those burner type herbicides, they need to get good physical coverage with lots of water droplets on those growing points to kill them. This picture is showing about a 4 inch tall waterhemp that was sprayed yesterday with Warren Ultra with some Roundup in it. That's kind of a mixture of Warrant for residual, the Flexstar active ingredient, which is what really got us this quick burn down, and then of course Roundup being the systemic. You can see on this small of water hemp we can be pretty effective and fairly rapidly. So this is why we want to target this size of water hemp with that strategy. We have a new tool, of course, this year with the Extend beans, using the Extendamax, Ingenia, those types of products, kind of the old active ingredient from Banville from years back. You can see these water hemp that are curled up. We have an application yesterday of Extendamax, which is the new dicamba active ingredient, kind of the old Banville again. You can see on these smaller weeds, we can curl those up pretty well. I think we're going to get all those growing points and be pretty effective. Whereas if you look at this picture showing us the larger water hemp, you can almost see that we curled it up pretty good. I'm not so sure there isn't a growing point or two on top that don't show much uptake yet, and it's a little early to tell being only 24 hours after application, but I'm not so sure we're going to get enough into that plant to kill it. As a reminder of why we want to spray early, keep it from coming up, maybe even add some residuals with that post-applied application is so we don't ever have to fight this battle with an animal this size. This year, we've had some hot, dry, windy days, a few rains recently, kind of put us behind spraying corn, us and farmer applicator rigs as well. And then we end up getting a little bit behind when we can get switched over to soybeans. And if you got a field with some water hemp pressure, this can happen to us. So our goal is to not let that push us around, and timeliness and the right strategies are all important. So kind of keeps everybody on their toes. It's not an easy game, that's why we work pretty hard at it. That'll be this week's Field Friday segment, and we'll see you next week.